Hello, good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be checking out Frank Gambale and just doing a little study, seeing what I can learn, what I take away from it personally. I think everybody that studies someone else should be using it as a mirror to learn more about themselves and their own artistry. And I'm not going to be studying specific albums or specific songs by Frank Gambale. I'm going to be more studying the artistry and the process of Frank Gambale himself. All right, let's get into this. First off, let's just start with some live performance. Get into some stuff. Let's see how he starts the show.
Rick Fierabracci on the bass. Walfredo Reyes on the drums. Gonna play mostly music from my new record, Passages. And we're gonna start out a little bit jazzy and get a little more rocky as we go along. So I'm gonna play a song called Nunzio's Nia.
my god. Y'all haven't been able to hear me for a while. Oh my gosh. Bro. And the audio might have been doubled. Wait. Maybe not. No, the audio hasn't been doubled, but you haven't been able to hear me. Alright, let me just reiterate what I was saying. So Frank was born in 1958, so he was 37 when he made this. And that just goes to show that music isn't like sports, where you're gonna peak when you're 25, you know? Maybe 30, if you're real good. Like, I think you need to gather a certain amount of life before you can really communicate this language. Depends on the person that you are, but just in my opinion, I see a lot of younger cats that have incredible technical ability. They can understand it, but then that's been their whole life. So they just sound like it's very flat. It doesn't hold much depth. So it's nice to see. I'm sure Frank Gambale was killing when he was in his 20s, but he definitely got his recognition a lot later. A lot of these great players that I really look up to are the same way. And I'm 24 now, so just know that I got time. I'm not even gonna pretend to be any sort of good, but I know I can be because I got 5 years until I'm 30-ish. Another thing I was talking about
Thank
is
you very much.
some examples. Let's see if I can find it again. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Frank was the inventor of sweep picking. So this is really fast and crazy now, but in 1995, no one had heard anything like this before. In fact, I'm gonna write some of that down. I'm a horrible person. Big innovation happening from Frank Gambale. All right, let's skip through. Let's go to the 27 minutes and 27 seconds. Okay, now he's a lot more metal. He's playing quick. I think let's make a highlight section. I think Frank's best thing about him is how he plays everything. I think that's the most inspirational thing. I don't think his writing was anything crazy. Like, it was really new and fusion-y, but it's got this kind of, I don't know, sound to it that isn't. It doesn't carry a whole lot of feeling. It carries a lot of aesthetic. But Frank Gambale's playing and his ability to solo over changes is what really made him the most famous guitarist. Which is the biggest thing that I'm curious about for him, and how we piece that together. And let's add another thoughts section, because the biggest thing I think about that and how he pieced these together is that, and him and kind of Alan Holdsworth kind of brought me towards the same thing, is you can be taught a lot of tricks and rules, but you got to figure out a system for yourself that works for you. And I'm saying you, but I'm talking about me. Like, that's what I gotta do, and that's what I've been working on. And just kind of an understanding of harmony and an ear that goes to certain places. And then within that ear, you have technical facility to know where to reach on your instrument. And that takes a long time. And that takes a lot of gigs to get down, and a lot of practice sessions. And a lot of failing. But only in that way, only in the way that you're discovering what works for you and you're discovering your own system, are you going to have any sort of chance at innovating or any sort of chance of having a unique sound. Which is something that Frank Gambale absolutely bodied, because he created new techniques, sweep picking, and all of these different ways of getting around the fretboard so that he could play what he wanted to in his ear. Though I'm not really sure. Hopefully we can find out later how much of Frank Gambale's playing is intellectual and how much is just purely feeling. So I'm gonna add this to thoughts real quick. Harmonic system, oh god. Alright, I don't really care to hear this next one. Yeah, back to the Gambalster. Alright, let's go to the near the end of the show after a lot of playing. I like his shirt. It's cool. Oh, this is a popular song. We're going back. Oh, he knew that was cold. You see the look on his face? That's crazy. Oh gosh. Got this light touch. Like it doesn't look like he's playing very hard. He's very relaxed. See, one thing that I've been thinking about that this bass player was just making me thinking about is like, why does there always a bass player and then there's always the people that play on top? And this seems like a system that's existed but doesn't have to, right? So I think part of my mission of getting this big A-string bass and trying to practice it, I mean, keys players can do this too. Keys players can play bass notes, and they just don't because we have a bass player. But bass players cannot play lead lines, right? So, and guitars, I don't know, why do these instruments have the range that they have, right? And I think it's because of technological limits in the past that we no longer have, right? So in the future, I'm hoping to blend the lines between a lot of these things and get just have a bunch of players that can play the whole range, and then they just kind of the bass player will still be there, right? But it's not going to be one person. It's going to be a role that is passed around between the band. I've been thinking about this with the kick drum especially, 'cause sometimes the kick drum can be the bass player, right? Depends on the kick drum, depends on what it sounds like, but depends on how it's played. Sometimes percussion is an amazing bass player. But I think the rigidity of like a quartet where everyone kind of has a range that they play in, I think that's it's cool, it's tradition, but it's not necessary anymore. Anyways. Question is, how could I play this fast? So right here, just like the look on his face tells me he's not thinking a single lick about a single note, about a single mode, about a single anything. This is flow state. And in that flow state, I don't think you can really be accessing this sort of intellect. It's a different kind of intelligence. It's this like intelligence where you're resting in your body and trusting the neurons that you've already built. Clearly, he spent a lot of time building and playing, but there's no way that he's thinking, like, this is all just stuff that he hears that he can execute on his instrument because there's this deep connection between his fingers and his brain. And because he knows the song really well and he's worked his way around it and probably rehearsed it a bunch. But let's look at his face more. Oh, the little leg lift. Yeah, I feel like you can tell. There's a lot of these players out here that they'll be playing and it's like the whole time they're not moving. They're executing perfectly. They're playing John Coltrane at 4,000 BPM, and they play it on the banjo, right? But their face is showing nothing, and their body isn't moving. Like, cool. Like, I can't do that. I cannot do that, but what I can do is have fun every single time I play. You know, and it's this, going back to it, it's this depth versus kind of what's on the outside, like this skin, you know? And honestly, in my opinion, artists require great EQ in order to be great artists. And a lot of musicians are not great artists, but they're great musicians. I'll have it be clear. I'll put it on record right now. I'm trying to be a fantastic artist that maybe is a good musician as well, but I'm an artist. I'm not anything else. That's what I am. That's what I'm best at, and what I'm going to continue to get better at. And let's keep watching. Look at that face. Oh, no, where did I go? Oh, God. Look at that face. He knows he's cool. He knows he's so cool. Just a little smirk. He's like, I'm the only one that can do that. I've got this voice. Oh, my God. How ecstatic would it be to be able to play that? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Tone does he bring? And I'll say this kind of playing makes you feel epic. like so, like, it's so cool. But maybe that's just me. The way you okay, let's go back. Look at how it just floats. Oh my gosh. I find that so inspiring. I'm really trying to be able to do that with my own playing, but this feeling of just like I'm moving my hands up and down, I'm going all over, but it's light to the touch. And you're just whatever you play is just so like light and upwards. Like it's hard to describe feelings sometimes and put it into words because it's not words. It's what this is. But it feels like that's the best way I can describe it. I don't know. Whoa! Whoa! We're going again. We're watching that 5 times at least. He's not even using his pinky. He's not even using his pinky. He's not even using his pinky. Oh. Oh, and piano player had to match. Okay, we're going back one time. This is killing me. Oh my god. This is crazy. have to use a pick? Question. Put this in the question. Do I gotta start using a pick? Forever, that's been like, no way am I ever gonna use a pick. I'm just a finger player. Frank Gambale is changing that. He's changing that. He's like, oh my gosh. Is that speed even like in that tone achievable on a without pick, with using just your fingers? I mean, it's a lot more like classical if you start using your fingers, and picking is like shredding. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Maybe it'd be a cool experiment and a good, maybe worth thing to learn, especially like that hybrid picking bass stuff. That's all very cool. But maybe I'll just use like my fingernail. I don't know. I got some more videos for y'all. Let's I wanted to watch. He has 3 lessons on his YouTube channel. And it's pretty cool. So I think we should watch all these and see what we can learn from him. So he's a bit older here. This was actually released 1 month ago. Shout out Frank for being a great teacher. He's 66 now, so just a legend. I know he has a lot of students. That being said, I'm gonna probably turn it down so that if you want to listen to this, go watch it yourself. The purpose of this stream and this VOD and whenever you're watching this is to kind of show the process of my learning and to show the reflection and to show my own personal reflection through my own artistry and how I interpret that, and rather maybe what you as the viewer can learn from this is some new approaches and just kind of new mindsets of what you're learning from something and how to document it, and maybe, I don't know, maybe this is something you want to listen to. Who knows? This is a new thing. Let's keep going.
Hi folks, this is Frank Gambale here, and welcome to frankgambaleguitarschool.com. I've got some free lessons for you, and it's a subject that's dear to my heart, and that is
18-hour
harmony
piece and harmony
and
course?
theory. Many guitar players are completely afraid of this subject.
I might.
And my favorite statement is this: if you can count to 13, that's as hard as the music theory is. So we should never be afraid of it, and the benefits way outweigh the negative side of it, you know? So learning theory is essential, and I'll show you a couple of examples. Like, for example, a lot of guitar players, you know, when they're learning, say, for example, a major scale, a lot of guys play the scale, and they learn it every position, and they learn it up here. Problem with that is, it doesn't really teach you anything about what is a major scale. What does it mean to you? When someone says major scale, what does it mean? I want to show you how to practice and how to use the theory in a way that can really benefit your understanding of what is a major scale. Not only is a major scale the fundamental scale to which all music theory is compared. It is the foundation scale. Yet so few guitar players really understand how to get the music out of it and really understand the vibe of major. Major, I always say, is quintessentially happy. That is the sound, or part of the sound of major to me. Now, I think you should learn it in terms of intervals all over the fretboard. Maybe on one string, to help you get out of lock positions. I love to learn them on one string for a start. and I fool around with it. You know, when we're at the guitar, we play guitar. So you should play also with the notes.
Big. Let's put it. Let's put it here. Play. Are you working or are you playing? Play is so important. Keep it like a kid at recess. Make it fun. Yeah, you learn the rules to flag football, but you're still going to have a great time. If you're not having fun while you're playing, how is one, the audience going to have any fun? Two, how are the people that you're playing with going to have any fun? And three, why would you keep doing that? Like, you're not setting yourself up for success if you're not having fun. That's the whole point. All right.
Find little motifs so that we play them right throughout the fretboard in a diatonic way. See how I'm taking the same idea, etc., making music out of this stuff. Learning the scale doesn't really teach you anything about it. It doesn't really show you how to get the music out of it. And so, going further than that, okay, learning the scale is also learning the form of the scale and the intervals. Like the root is all the E's. Everywhere you see an E, it's the root. Everywhere you see F sharp is the second. There's lots of them. That's always the second. G sharp is always the third. There's lots of them, etc., etc. 4, 5, 6, 7, root. Now, major has all the perfect intervals, and that's why it's the scale that all the other scales are compared to figure out the sharps and flats of other modes and scales. Okay, so once you get the basic position, but not just in the blocks, like I said, learn them. Have you ever learned a scale in 2 notes per string? Look at that. If you start at the 12th fret, helps you learn to break out of position playing by trying to play a scale 2 notes per string. Kind of a cool little idea. Okay, so once you know, another important part of harmony and theory is learning intervals. And intervals are the foundation blocks. They're just 2 notes together. And there's lots of them. There's seconds. Like from the first note to the second note of the scale is a second. They're a little bit out if you play them as a scale. But thirds, for example, 1, 2, 3, if we play thirds, learning those on the fretboard is really beautiful. Now you realize, oh, music is coming out of this major scale. And it's sweet. Major scale is I learned that major is sweet. It's like sugar. Right? Whenever you hear a happy song on the radio, I bet it's in a major key. Right? So that's another thing to learn is intervals. And different intervals too. That was thirds. The next one would be fourths. Fourths sound more angular.
It's a good word, angular.
You've heard them a million times, right? They're beautiful to learn too. You can learn really cool, funky guitar riffs. Right, so it gets you a little bit out of the single note playing into more of an intervallic kind of playing. Now there's also fifths. That's an interesting sound too. Then there's sixths. Beautiful, these are like the opposite of thirds. And it's the basis of this kind of thing. Because I'm playing the sixths on the A and G string, but I'm doing the pedal open strings, the E's, to create a beautiful effect. Now you're starting to understand the idea of what is major. Learning harmony theory is essential. I've got an in-depth harmony course called Peace and Harmony, because I want people to come to peace with this stuff finally, because it's essential to becoming a better player.
Okay, well, how does he piece together harmony? Peace and Harmony course. I'm about to check that out after this thing, and I think you should too. I think that would be great for my time, or I think it would be great use of my time for me too. I think it would be a great use of your time for you too, and I think we could both support our boy, Frank Gambale right here. All right. Let's go to number 2. This is the part 2 of that exercise, or of the same series.
Next step
He
would
did
be
the 3-part
learning
series. We're gonna watch all
triads in
3.
major,
Maybe going a little bit more in depth
all
this
the
time.
diatonic harmonized scale. Learning the harmonized scale, you realize there's 7 chords in major. And obviously, because they come from the same scale, they're related. And when you hear songs, this information, harmonized scale, is essential to understanding keys. What key is a song, you know? When you realize which chords are related together in a single key, it starts to make real sense when you hear songs. And you'll know when they change key, because you'll know, hey, that chord's not inside that major key, it's inside another key. And there's all sorts of tricks to learning how to remember harmonized scales, and I talk about that too in the course. Anyway, so there's harmonized scale, there's intervals, and this way you start to really learn the benefit of harmony and applying it right away to the guitar. Right? And then there's modes, learning all the different modes. There's a lot of harmony inside a major scale, but every song is not major and every song's not happy. So if I had a sad song, for example, I would probably, through my understanding of harmony, I would learn soon enough that most sad songs are in Aeolian mode, which is the 6th mode of major. But the way I like to learn them is all starting on the same E root, guitar-friendly key. So the intervals I've learned, and I discussed this in the course, is 1, 2, flat 3 makes it minor. So as soon as you make something minor third or minor, it automatically sounds sad. It's got a sad sound to it. The 4th and the 5th are the same as major. Now we have a flat 6, which makes it even sadder. I mean, minor third is sad, but coupled with a flat 6, you're talking seriously sad. Flat
Seriously
7
sad.
root. So there's our intervals, and now you can already hear it sounds sad. And in the same way, I would learn it all over my fretboard. Learn where that flat 6 is and where the minor third is. Flat 6, minor third, 2nd.
So
See, who wants to learn Aeolian like this?
So basically what I'm learning is that over all of these scales, right, it's really important to learn how to play and learn how to explore. I take this, I find that whoa. I find this is really helpful for my own technique and how I've built up a lot of my playing this far is, yeah, you have these scales, but what are you doing with them? How can you jump around them? So a lot of my practice has been kind of this chaotic approach where you're kind of just throwing stuff out, maybe in a scale. And later we're going to talk, I've got a video where Frank Gambale talks about something he learned from Chick, which is true improvisation, where every time you play something, it's something you haven't played before. So I've got this take that I've got to tell everybody. I'm an anti-lick player. I'm not learning a lick. I'm playing new stuff every time. It's going to take me a lot longer, but it's going to get me a lot higher. Sorry. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, I'm back. Revealed real skin tone for a second. All right, let's continue.
You don't really get what it's all about. And really, to really get a deep sense of what music is, you really need to learn the essence, the sound. What is the vibe for a particular scale? Each scale has a different vibe, a different sensation, a different mood. They should have been called moods, not modes. Anyway, so I would take E minor Aeolian and learn where the thirds are, and keeping the bass so I can hear. This is essential stuff, whether it's for rhythm guitar playing, whether it's for soloing, whether it's for songwriting. It's all related, it's all coming from the same place. So fourths in Aeolian.
So a lot of the sound
That's
that he's making, it'd be the same for major or minor, but it's because of the root note that he's droning beneath it all that gives it its sound. Hence, why bass players are so cool.
up to sixths. Right? So now you're starting to understand through the blessing that is harmony and theory exactly what's going on. You need to really, when you hear a sad song, you start to recognize, you put the mode and the song together and you go, oh, okay. It's this kind of...
I wish I found this video 10 years ago. It took me a long time to learn this, and I kind of had to learn it on my own. I don't know why. All through school, I was just taught scales, and it's very easy to get into this kind of music listening. Well, I wasn't a very active listener. I was kind of traumatized for a long time, so never mind. We'll talk about that another time. But I wasn't fully there for a lot of my schooling and my beginnings on the bass. But I was taught scales, right? But I wasn't taught how to apply them or how they work together. I just knew to play the scales. And it took me a long time of discovery to just figure out what to be using with these. All right, I think he's mostly done. So let's go to the next video.
Hi everybody, Frank Gambale here again for this free lesson. I want to talk a little bit more about harmony and theory. I'm very passionate about that because I think it's the way forward for everybody.
Yep.
You know, we have a lot of holes in our understanding. When you get a little bit of information here and there in a book and a video and a little lick from this guy, and you know, it's really fragmented. And that's part of the problem, you know, it's hard to make sense of it all. It needs to be learned in a very logical and organized manner. Otherwise, you don't really get the deep understanding that you need to move forward in your playing.
Create a system.
So, part of what I'm going to show you today in this free lesson is a little bit of what I call chord construction harmony. You need to know this stuff because, you know, a lot of people learn chord shapes by memory, you know, and that's all well and good, but unless you really understand why is the chord shape that shape? Why? Have you ever stopped to wonder why is it that shape? Well, you have to go one step deeper and learn the theory of chord construction and what notes are required to make a certain chord. For example, every major chord, everybody knows what a triad is, right? Everybody knows a major chord. What is an E triad? Well, the formula is the first and third and fifth notes of the scale all together, right? 1, 3, 5. But that's why I always say you got to know your intervals, right? Here's your intervals for a major scale of E. So if I put this note, the first and the third and a fifth one together, there's my basic E triad, right? So don't be deceived by when you see a big block E chord like this. Really, what have we got going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got the fifth, 6, 7 root. Okay, we've got to repeat here in the E. 1, 2, 3. Well, there's the third. 4, 5, 6, 7 root. So we got a 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. Okay, it's still just 1, 3, 5, right? Same with these kind of block bar chords. Here we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root. We're back to 1. So this just like gives you a 1, 5, 1 basis for this chord. There's the third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how logical these shapes are? Once you start looking at the interval. So 1, 2, here's another voicing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. This is like the C chord, really. The C is here. E, E. Very few guitar players play E like this. A lot of guys play this one, a lot of guys play that one, but almost nobody plays this one, or rarely do I see that one being used. Why not? It sort of fills the gap between these block chords, right? It's really just a C chord. We all know open C, but we rarely use it anyplace else. So this is the kind of understanding that comes through learning harmony, learning theory. It's valuable when you start to apply it on the guitar directly. You know, the scale has numbers, and those numbers are there for a reason, because they help us figure out what chords are. If I want a major 7 chord, for example, I know the formula for a major 7 is 1, 3, 5, and 7. So the first, third, fifth, and seventh note of the scale all sounding together. So let's have a look at that. 1, 2, 3. So those two together. 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's a major 7 chord. Beautiful major 7 voicing. 1, 3. This would be called a 1, 3, 5, 7 voicing, because that's how the notes unfold, right? So if I take another E, let's take this one up here. And play, if you know your scale up here, in intervals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's your typical major 7 voicing for E. Right there, plain and simple. And that gives the shape logic, right? There's a reason it's that shape. Because if you know your fretboard and you've learned your intervals of the scale, you know that that's how
Talking about last stream.
A lot of people know this voicing for a major 7. Now, this is a different voicing for a major 7, but let's figure out what it is. It's a 1. We know that that's a fifth, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 1, 5, 7. And often on guitar, we put the third on the top because it just makes it playable. We can't always play 1, 3, 5, 7s, depending on the chord. So we often put the third in the second octave. So this would be a 1, 5, 7, 3 voicing for a major 7. And here's another one. 1, 5, 7, 3. A lot of people know this one. Right? So if you looked at the scale.
I'm really happy. It feels like Frank Gambale has a very similar look on harmony that I have, except he just has so much more experience spending time with it. So I feel like I have a strong foundation of my knowledge currently and my ideas of theory and harmony, but all I must do is just spend more time with it, hopefully on a stream. Just getting to know, especially with this new instrument, and then being able to float around it a little bit better.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the same as the third. And that makes the shape make sense. If I wanted a ninth chord, I know ninth is 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and 9 of the scale. So everybody knows the shape, but what is it? Why is it this shape? Well, let's have a look and compare it with the intervals. We know we have a root, 1, 2, 3, there's the third. Well, we've skipped the 5, it must be somewhere else in the violin. There's the flat 7, right? So that's the basis of this chord, 1, 3, flat 7. Then we're back to the root. This is the ninth note from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 10, 11, 12 is the same as 5 in the lower octave. So guitar players often play it like this. 1, 3, flat 7, 9, 5.
Here's my take. Why do you need so many notes? You don't. Leave some for the rest of us. Play fewer. It's cooler.
And that's the formula, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 9. And it makes perfect sense. Now, we can't always play the 5, so sometimes we leave it out. 1, 3, flat 7, 9 is quite a common voicing. 1,
My guy.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, flat 7, from the major 7, flat 7, root 9. So that shape has logic to it. And if you learn the formulas, of course, they apply to every...
All right. I'm feeling good about this. Frank Gambale. The only music course you will ever need. Volume 1. Hmm. Yeah, this sounds pretty useful. Bah! Oh my gosh. It's so expensive. Oh. They know how to price. They know how to price. It's right on the edge. $444. What if I use the code though? There's a code. Special
Key.
limited.
The reason I prefer
offer.
numbers to notes is that it does apply to every key. Formula always
Coupon
is the
code.
same. What changes actually is just the notes. So if I'm in a different
Top
key,
piece, 55. I don't know what that means, but let me see if it works. Yeah, okay. It's tough to know. Let's just continue. Here's Frank Gambale going through. He was well known for playing in the Chick Corea Electric Band. And I think he learned a lot from that. So let's hear him play over Spectrum. And that's it. Man, okay, so I gotta create a system where I can sound that fluid. Fluid system. Fluid systems, that's thoughts. Fluid systems. Talking about fluidity. Here we go. Is looking at him like, you don't know what's going on, bro. So here I can hear his sound is a little bit more tense. I mean, yeah, you're playing with the Chick Corea Electric Band at Blue Note, New York City. Oh my gosh, but it sounds a little bit more confused over how to solo. is done playing with it. I'm not having fun, says Chick. What Chick said? It's not fair, he said. Oh, he got it. Okay, so the beginning, he was like, "Oh, let me find my way around." Okay, but then but then it took him one chorus to be like, "Oh, okay, I found it. Let's lock in." We'll go back. Yep. Stop thinking so much. He's not thinking as much. Right now he's just like, what do I hear? He's singing. This makes me feel really good because over these changes, over any changes, I have a voice in my head that I can't sing and I can't play, but is definitely there. That is so killing. It is so killing. And I think that same thing is what Frank Gambale is accessing right here. Except he has a lot more time and access through his fingers to be able to translate that. So two things I got to do. One, keep that voice around my head. Two, let it free. Join the stream. Watch me do that. It's going to be sick. It's going to be awesome, actually. Might take years. Well, to play, it's going to take me lots of years. Lots and lots of years. Tens of thousands of hours. But to build a good stream, oh my gosh, if I could build a good stream, and then it's my job to be getting really good, what a blessing that would be. What a blessing that would be. Thank you, Jesus. All right, let's keep watching. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about play. These two right there are having their own thing. They're having such a fun time. They're having such a fun time. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, let's go into this. Well, let's watch that. So at the beginning, Chick was like, "Yo, what are you playing? What's happening right here?" And then by the end, he's like, I remember why I have you in the band. Oh, what a good smile. What a goat right here. I think he had his own issues, but another innovator for sure, for sure. Let's go to this. Oh. Okay, yeah, those are the videos I have to show you today. Wow. Really inspired by Frank. Here's just kind of some notes that I took down for thinking about it. But giving my closing thoughts behind this band playing.
Thanks very much, Admaro Ruiz. Thanks for coming, folks. Thank you very
So what I'm thinking is, like, Frank has such an ability to express his voice through his instrument, and he did so in a way where he innovated so that he could achieve that, right? And he also had this interest in the workings behind it, right? And this is what my teacher tells me as well, but you got to learn all the stuff. You got to learn everything you possibly can and apply it. And then once you've learned it, then you can forget it. So for me, I think that involves learning a lot of these kind of secondary scales. I spent a lot of time with the major scale, and I'm feeling pretty confident in the major scale, but I need access to these more voicings, and I also need access to greater speed, greater technical playing, which I think will all come together. So I think my focus for the future here is to work on kind of like melodic minor, harmonic minor, diminished, augmented scales, and get as quick with those as I feel right now, and as implemented as the major scale is in my mind. And it'll probably be able to be a lot quicker because the first time is the longest for everything. And just like, I don't know, just the kind of fun that he's having, I gotta keep around. I don't think I necessarily am gonna have an epic tone, but the floating he's able to do and the effortlessness, I'm really inspired by. Let's go back to my original questions and see if I can answer. How does Frank think through changes? I think he did, but I don't think he does anymore. I think he hears it. Where does Frank's voice come from? I think it comes from this kind of technical exploration of this interest of figuring out what is actually happening between the notes and the relationship between everything. And then once you have that implemented in your ear, and once you've played that enough to know what that sounds like and to know what to reach for when you have something in your head, then you can forget it. How does he piece together harmony? I think it's just taste. And again, with the just feeling. How can I play that fast? I answered myself, lots of practice. Do I gotta using a pick? I'm hilarious. Do I gotta use a pick? We will see. We will see. I appreciate you all. Thanks for joining the stream today. We learned a lot about Frank Gambale. I'm gonna go edit some videos.